Yeah, I could probably do it with just being like a book hire.
Hey guys, how you going? Well, we're back for just the 5th webinar, something like that.
Starting to get used to them.
Starting to get used to them, yes. Okay, what we're going to talk about today, the cost of not systemising your business. We're just going to pause for a second. I'm just going to wait and see if we get a few more people into the room. So, oh yeah, looking good. Anyway, not bad, not bad. Things are picking up, so that's really good to see. More and more people are coming in each fortnight on these webinars, so that's really good. Anyway, if your business is dependent on you actually being there every day, then it's maybe time for you to think about systemising it, especially if you're ever going to think about selling your business.
Oh, yeah.
Because you're not going to sell your business if you can't walk away from it. Basically, you're selling yourself.
Actually, you see this. You see people who sell their business, and then they end up back there for 6 months in what they call a workout. So they've sold the business. The new owner has realised they have no idea what to do because all of the stuff's in the old owner's head. So then the old owner gets called back in for maybe 6 months to work out and explain to them how to run the business more effectively. That usually ends in tears. So if you want to sell the thing and get it done first, get it done right the first, end up with a claim for misrepresentation against you, make it so that you're redundant in your business. And the way to do that is to stop working in your business and start working on your business. And I know you keep hearing that. So today we're going to discuss systemisation and what it actually costs you. We won't talk about dollar cost because that differs for every business, but what it actually costs you at the end of the day not to have your business properly systemised so that you're redundant. Yeah, so if you're doing tasks that can be done by a computer or they can be done by a staff member with different skill sets, yep, and at a lower hourly rate than what you can do it for, then it's definitely time to look at systemising that. You don't have to do it all yourself, and this is a big mistake a lot of people make, especially entrepreneurs when they're starting up, thinking they have to do the whole lot themselves. Entrepreneur equals control freak if you look in the dictionary.
Control freak.
For a lot of the time, it's true. So there are a number of areas that are really easy to systemise. The first one that most people attack is administration. All of the things that are necessary to keep your business rolling and that are done by the high turnover, relatively junior staff. So you'll see that opening mail and processing mail, handling telephone calls, any printing and document management, document preparation work, that sort of thing, processing orders, arranging shipping, managing inventory. Those things there are usually handled by staff who are in your business, and if you handle it by you because you're the only one in your business, then, hey, systemise it now before you have to employ staff. But if you can create systems to train people how to do those things and simplify the handover of the tasks from one person to the next, then you're well on the way to having your business redundant of you, at least in that particular area.
And this one's an easy one to do. It is so simple to set up, it's not even funny. Yeah. Especially like basic administration systems, any sort of paper handling and stuff like that. And this brings on to accounting. Accounting, again, is information handling. Again,
systems that allow you to minimise theft. So accounting systems that stop theft, and it's fairly common in retail to see theft occur because people don't have necessarily your interests at heart when they're working on your cash registers. I know that Bunnings, for argument's sake, has something like 8% of their stock walk out the door without being paid for. That sounds really high. JB Hi-Fi, it's closer to 12%. You really don't want to be in that situation. So how can you automate things to stop that happening? There's a couple of ways. If you only take credit card transactions, there's a fairly good chance you're going to be right. There are still pitfalls with credit card transactions, but get your accounting systems right and know what the dollars are doing every single time in purchasing and all that sort of thing so that they're not going into someone else's pocket instead of yours.
Yeah, and credit management too is actually quite an easy one to set up, even all the way through to collections. It's something we used to set up very early back in the late 90s on systems. If invoices became overdue, we basically had a set of scripts that we'd bring up, and I'll get someone to read through the scripts and say, hey, when can you make a payment?
Well, not even that. Nowadays, you can automate a lot of that process. I've done credit management for almost all my adult life, so about 27 years of the 35 years of the workforce have been devoted to credit management. And you can automate a lot of the letters and emails and that sort of thing that go out because they're pretty much a form letter. You're overdue. Here's a copy of the invoice. Please pay. Tell us if there's a problem. And that goes on for the first 30 to 60 days. Credit terms are a different matter altogether. But that first 30 to 60 days is basically harassing people to get them to pay. After that, you have to involve a human. But if you can do it before you involve a human, it's going to cost you a lot less to collect.
Yeah, invoicing's a no-brainer. Xero does perfectly.
Xero, the account packages will do it. Xero is staff consideration.
Yeah. Payroll, once you get the payroll and banking, it gets a little bit more complicated. Obviously, having money being paid out of your tightly.
Again, Xero's got an excellent payroll module. I know this sounds like an ad for Xero because it is Xero. There's a lot. So there's an excellent payroll module in Xero, and it looks after things like superannuation and tax payments, accrues them into the right accounts, and it shows up on your dashboard how much you've got outstanding on those things at any given time. Superannuation is about to change. From the 14th of August, there's going to be an announcement coming out from the ATO that they will handle super directly as part of pays, as a matter of course, to take super out and remit it. Why? Because a lot of business owners haven't been paying their employees super into their super accounts. And that is actually a breach of the Act.
So it's against the law.
Yeah.
Next one, communications. Printed electronic media, they're key to most modern businesses these days, especially small businesses.
Oh, yeah.
Emails. Now, some people, they discount emails. They say, well, whoever reads them. Actually, it's probably got one of the biggest take-up rates out of any electronic media that's out there.
Yeah. More than 80% of emails in any organisation are read within half an hour. Why? Because people sit there watching it, and the email's got all this nagware stuff that pops things up on your screen that annoy the hell out of you anyway. People read emails, particularly in a work environment. So if you can automate emails and congregate them into one place using something like Gmail, G Suite, that's a good idea.
Yeah. Then your general correspondence, automating that.
So sometimes you still see print correspondence. It's necessary in certain areas.
Yep.
But if you can automate that and put it into email, unless it absolutely has to be on paper, yeah,
keep away from it. You can't. You always end up with an office pile full of paper, which
paperless office,
paperless office full of paper. Anyway, meetings and team management. There's a lot of good packages out there for this. We've used Asana. We have used Reich. We've used some other packages as well in the past. Asana we use a lot now because we collaborate with a lot of other businesses that use Asana as well. So we cross, I suppose, skills there.
Yeah.
When we've got team members working on different things.
When you're working in something like Asana, it allows you to integrate a lot of your email communications, team management, document management, all into one place. And the fact that you're not skipping from one software package to another makes it much more powerful at the end of the day. If you've got one solution rather than five, think of it yourself. If you had to use 5 cars to get from, say, here to Sydney, as opposed to 1 car, you'd think that was fairly inefficient. And yet I see people over and over and over using 5 different software packages to achieve what one will achieve, because that's the way they've always done things. Look at simplifying and streamlining stuff.
And something to point out too, a lot of these packages we're talking about, they are cloud-based packages.
Yes.
So they're based on
they follow you around.
They follow you around. They can work on your phone, your tablet, your PC, your laptop, no matter where you are. As long as you've got an internet connection, they work. But they don't work if you don't have an internet connection. I'll just highlight that because that does come up, especially for remote areas.
There is that, yeah. That's getting better. Reporting. Reporting is something that most small business owners overlook. Why? Because it takes time and they don't regard it as something that's essential to the day-to-day running of their business. And it's not to the day-to-day running of the business. It's essential to the month-to-month and quarter-to-quarter and year-to-year running of their business, that they know where they're going and what's happening on a monthly or a quarterly basis. Reporting is essential. If you can't measure it, you can't manage it. And if you're not measuring key performance indicators, and you're not measuring profit and loss, and you're not measuring your asset position and your bank position on a fairly regular basis, you're headed for the rocks. It's that simple. So again, look at the software package that manages reporting for you. Xero is really good at that. Yeah,
it's interesting. Sometimes it's better to have a look at where you're going before you actually get there, because sometimes you'll get to where you don't want to be.
Well, it allows you to plan, doesn't it? Yeah. Oh, we're going on a trip. Where? Oh, I don't know, darling. Somewhere else. Have a plan as to where you're going. If you're going on a trip to Nepal and you end up in America, maybe you've mucked up. And yet I see a lot of businesses that have no idea where they're headed 3 months from now, let alone 5 years from now, because it's like, oh no, we're doing okay, we're doing good. you're doing nothing but running in circles. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you run your business into the ground before you even know about it, doing it that way.
Yep.
That brings us up to customer relations. Customer relations is an interesting one, especially with the internet. Internet it opens up a whole plethora. Is it a plethora? Plethora of options and the way that you can actually connect with people. Obviously,
and the way you can mess it up.
Text communications, since they first came out, miscommunication has been really big on those. But we've got video now, like you're here with the webinar, and we're talking to you directly.
That's true.
And we used to run these face-to-face in a coffee shop, and would get kicked out of the coffee shop because someone wouldn't order enough coffee, or someone would park in the wrong spot and things like that. But now we've
wasn't that fun?
Those were the days.
The thing with written communication is that you have to, at some point, have some sort of verbal communication with people. The written words constitute about 8% of the message. The tone and inflection and facial expressions and hand gestures and that sort of thing constitute the other 92% of the message. This is why everyone hates everyone else on the internet and why Facebook and Twitter are such a mess. You get into an argument there and you can't convey that you're being sarcastic. And Australians do a lot of sarcasm.
Putting SIC at the end of a sentence, most people don't even know what it means. They think, oh, he's sick. That sarcasm included.
So getting back to customer relations, things that you can automate here, sales scripts. Know what your staff are going to say before they say it, and make sure that they say what you expect they're going to say. If they're running your product down, even subconsciously while they're talking to your potential clients, then they can do untold damage to your business. Have an FAQs page on your website, and you'll see that in our other webinars and in our blog posts. Frequently asked questions are really, really important because they allow you to take someone who's being paid $20 or $30 or $40 an hour out of a role and put it on a web page that does it for nothing. Newsletters are powerful. That's back on the email side of things we talked about in communications, especially if it's targeted. If you've got a mailing list that's been built up with legitimate subscribers, not a broad list, and those people are actually there to receive information relating to your business and they're interested in it, newsletters are a great way to put that through. And they don't have to be sales in newsletters either. They can have a soft sell in there. In other words, they can recommend certain products, but you don't have to say, this is a limited time offer or anything like that, or push them towards it. And they're easy to deliver. There's a lot of systems out there. Entreport is a brilliant one for that. Which helps with communications and keeping in touch with people. There's a number of other systems available as well, which help you set up that. There's a whole heap of services available on the internet now, which can help with customer relations, which can be automated, and actually sets it up so that you can present a really touchy-feely sort of image for your business with the client. Well, certainly something that's also a lot more internet-friendly. I've got an accountant who sends out an email with a newsletter every month. It's usually 12 to 16 pages of script. I have suggested as carefully as I can that he actually use headlines and have you link out to that, but we don't do that. We have 16 pages of script. I don't read it. It's just too much. If you subscribe to a news service, let's say ABC News Australia, abc.net.au, if you subscribe to them, you'll get an email twice a day with about 10 headlines in it and about 5 or 6 words for each article. If you can set your newsletters up like that and make them interesting and engaging, you've got a better chance of engaging with your clients than sending them 16 pages of densely written stuff that's about how the tax office has changed their rules on the tax deductibility of Uber vehicles or something like that. You glaze over, like, this is not going to happen. So customer relations, when it's automated and it's done properly, newsletters can be done really well. If you don't know how to do it, hire someone who does. It doesn't cost that much. Once you've figured it out after 3 or 4 months, have a shot yourself. But I'll bet that if they're efficient and they're inexpensive, the person you're hiring to do it, you'll keep using them.
Actually, an interesting I want to point out just quickly, things like your mailing list, Entreport, MailChimp, you can set up what's called a campaign.
Yep.
So if someone has bought a product of yours and you need to have some sort of after-sales sort of service, you can schedule emails to be sent out on a timely fashion after that, and can have options in there too. They can select those options and actually take them off to different campaigns, and actually can track them and also tutor them through using your products. And you
and marketing is also part of customer relations, the schedule to which they go out. So you're not remembering at 2 o'clock in the morning while you're lying there trying to work out where the next dollar's coming from. I haven't sent out my email policy or my email marketing this week. Get someone else to do it. And if they fail, ask them why they haven't done it. You don't have to do it all yourself. The other one is telephone policy. How do they answer the phone? What do they say about your business? I know it sounds silly, but it can get really messed up. Have it written down.
Again, advertising. Yeah. Advertising, we haven't quite touched on that yet. We're going to talk about that shortly, actually, in marketing. Yeah. But advertising, automation, actually, we'll leave that for when we go into marketing.
Yeah, we'll deal with that in an op report in number 6. Employees. This is Paul's pet. Create systems for hiring, training, and firing staff. Clear, concise manuals are key to having productive staff. So your recruiting, your incentives program, feedback, staff feedback on what they've done, what they're not doing, what they're doing right, that sort of thing. Training, roles, job descriptions. We've actually got an entire software package that handles just that. Artemis was designed specifically for that. If you don't understand it, come along to one of the workshops. Have Paul talk about it. He's absolutely passionate about this particular topic. It's his 2 years of his life.
It's longer than that. Don't
worry.
It's a lot longer than that.
Sorry,
that's software package.
2 years of your life. The rest of it's 25 years of your life.
Yep.
This is the biggest problem when you're a small business owner, hiring staff and getting them right. You will try a few. You'll find out that they fall over in terms of your expectations and theirs, and you have to move on to the next one. It costs a lot of money to get it wrong. And God knows everyone's getting it wrong if they're not using the proper system.
Look, even 3 months of someone on full-time wages, if that's not the right person in the end, bang, you've said goodbye to
Let's say you're paying $1,000 a week, okay? So you're paying someone $1,000 a week for 13 weeks, for 3 months. That's $13,000 in direct costs, plus 9.5% of that in superannuation, plus holiday leave loading, plus sick leave, plus workers' compensation. By the time you've spent $13,000, you've actually got nearly $20,000 expended in all of the other support services that go there. So your on costs are somewhere between 40 and 60% of your actual wages cost. It costs a lot of money. If you could automate that for 20 grand and never have to worry about it again, you wouldn't hire someone for 3 months at all.
No, you wouldn't. You wouldn't. And once you burn through that sort of money once, you generally go and find ways of not doing it again.
Yeah, you figure it out.
I recommend that you don't do it the first time. Yeah. Actually, have a talk to people that know how to do it properly.
Experience is great. Just let it be someone else's. We've got a lot of that experience, unfortunately.
Unfortunately. That's why we set them up. Anyway, marketing. This is a good one. Customer relationship management, CRM systems, they're coming to their own now with cloud-based systems. They really are. And
they're no longer as clunky and labour-intensive as they used to be either.
No, they're very comprehensive. They're getting very integrated into other systems like Outlook. Outlook can even be classed as a CRM system. I suppose it really is classed as a CRM system. It's not really a cloud-based system that we're talking about here. But
by the way, don't use it for mass marketing and email campaigns. You will break your ISP's mail server. They will then get blacklisted. Your email will go up. Don't do that, okay? Use something else for mass email, not Outlook, please.
Yes, it's not a good idea. And don't use your iPhone for mass Outlook either, because your ISP, again, will be very upset.
Yeah, they get really upset. We've seen that happen.
Referrals. Now, as far as referrals go, normally, someone would bring up, say, "Oh, so-and-so sent me," and then you'd send that person kickback, or they get some sort of benefit from passing work on to you. Using the internet now with online systems, and a lot of the systems we've talked about just before, like Entreport, you can actually set up referral tracking.
Yes.
So you can see where the links have come from, where they originated from, and you can actually associate that back to the client you might be giving a benefit to, or some sort of...
Well, that comes from all of that associate marketing stuff that went on probably 10 years ago. Everyone started marketing other people's services and referring people to them. You don't know how effective that is until you've actually got a system to follow that. So the modern CRM packages like Entreport, Sugar, Salesforce, they're a bit more expensive. They track where the referral came from and the effectiveness of that particular person's referrals on an ongoing basis to know whether the referrals they send you are actually worth anything.
Yeah. Marketing. Marketing's a huge thing now on the internet. Social media platforms. There's a plethora of them.
Oh, yeah.
There's so many social media platforms, and there are different techniques of marketing on them. And, people will broadcast all their secrets and their special deals and things like that they have for them.
Yep.
But in essence, you're basically putting information in front of people.
Yes.
The different platforms that you look at will have different models on how they actually put that information or put those adverts in front of people.
Our meetup tonight is about Instagram marketing.
Yeah.
Are we specialists in Instagram? No. Do we know someone? Yes. Are we going to refer people to her? Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah, each of those platforms actually address different markets.
Yes.
Now, if you talk to someone like Christine Fernandez, she does a lot across all the different platforms, and she understands how they work. You've got different attention spans on each different platform. Some are there for only like half a second attention span. It's like flick, 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 flick. If you don't catch it in that half a second, you've missed the opportunity. Others which have a little bit longer, like YouTube, you're talking about 5 to 15 minutes is the attention span most people will spend on that.
Yeah. Actually, if you don't know how long people's attention span is to watch video, have a look at YouTube and look at the length, the duration of the videos, particularly music videos. They pull up under 5 minutes. The next stop from there is about 8 minutes for complex stuff, about training manuals and that sort of thing. Again, hire someone who knows what they're doing in this particular area. It's what we do.
Interesting thing about marketing, it can be systemised really, really well.
Yes.
It's something that can be tracked really well.
Part of the sales funnel.
Part of your sales funnel. Also, you can get really detailed metrics back on these things too, down to how old the person is, what was the last website they visited, what their common interest is, everything like that. It's actually quite scary information they keep about.
The amount of information that Facebook has on everyone on the planet who's connected to Facebook is just frightening. If you get that big that you're going to start buying Facebook's data, you'll understand why they're making billions and billions of dollars. They record everything like a massive vacuum cleaner. Anyway, marketing, sales training, lead management, referrals, all of those things fall under that marketing heading, and all of them can be handled pretty well by automation packages like Ontraport. Talk to us about it. If you don't understand it, come along to a workshop about it. Last one.
This is the big one.
Oh, yeah.
This is huge. Your administration of data systems inside your office, these grow huge. Even with a small team, 3 to 5 people, these data systems grow absolutely massive in no time at all. And I'm not talking about, having a big stack of files on the wall. I'm talking about having gigabytes of data in cloud-based.
I've just upgraded mine from 6 to 14 terabytes because I don't have enough space. I'm spending $2,000 each on expensive hard drives because I don't have enough space for the data that I'm storing. Why is there so much data? Well, we tried to get rid of paper, and now I've got heaps of paper and heaps of data.
Yeah. Instead of having big stacks of paper on your desk, you've got these big stacks of hard drives.
I've got a garage full of paper. Yeah, I'm about to burn it.
Yeah, you can't burn hard drives. It's a lot harder. You need to have a look at systemising these things, and probably the easiest way to systemise is actually to outsource it. Yes. People that know what they're doing. It doesn't cost a lot of money.
No one does their own backups effectively.
No.
Seriously, I don't know anyone, and I've been in business 35 years, so I don't know anyone who does their own backups properly. That includes me. I've actually hired someone to come and look after our backups. It's their responsibility. They get the emails. They tell me when it's a problem. They log in remotely to my data system and they fix the backups. They tell me when it's working. They tell me when it's not. Is it my job? I'm sorry, I don't have time. I'm self-employed like you.
So the things you've got to look after here, obviously your IT systems, making sure that your machines are working, your devices are all working, making sure they've got decent virus protection on them and spam protection.
Yes.
Mainly because they will clog up, they will slow down, and they will die, and you'll have all sorts of unknown things happening. And your bank account will get logged into, and your money will get funneled out, but if you don't have them set up right. Just ask a few people I've dealt with who've had it happen to them. Your backups, like Hector said, they need to be set up on a regular basis. They need to be checked. Yeah. Backups are not important until you've lost your data, and it will happen. It is guaranteed that once every 3 to 5 years, you will lose information.
And backing up from one computer in your office to another computer in your office is just plain dumb. I'm sorry. But if the place burns down, both of those computers get to be barbecued and everything's gone anyway. You need to back up somewhere other than within 10 feet of you.
Seriously, a cloud-based system, you can share a cloud like Dropbox between your laptop, your desktop, and maybe a couple of other computers. Even if the cloud-based system disappears, those computers that were connected to it, as long as it wasn't a delete or a malware sort of attack, they generally store the information. Then if any of all those machines disappear, they're also stored. If you look at the more extensive cloud-based systems that do backups, they have revisions. In other words, if you've deleted your entire folder full of information, you can actually go back and undelete it. Not only that, you can undelete it in
Are you getting this is important, that there's levels of redundancy? Don't think about backups. Just go and do it. Seriously, don't mess with it.
Managing projects, we've talked about that.
Yeah, point of sale, getting your data from point of sale organised. Wow, yeah, that'll stop theft.
Finances, again, that's something you need to talk to your accountant about.
Well, finances and banking. So ensure that your banking data is safe. There's actually a website running around at the moment that shows you all of the passwords that have been hacked. There's 382 million compromised passwords that you shouldn't use. Don't go to it and put your, I'm not going to tell you where it is. Don't go to it and put your password in. That then gives you a good chance that your new password is going to be compromised. But have a look at the old passwords that you've used and see if they've been compromised. You might be surprised.
Yeah, this has been awful.
And don't put in password.
Yeah, password is not a good password. For all those people that have password that's a password, guess what?
So think about this. The cost of not systemising your business is this. If you are able to reduce each task here by 1 hour per week, you'd save yourself 7 hours a week. How many dollars an hour is your time worth? Is it worth $20, $50, $100? Think about that cost and how much would you save over the course of a year. So if it's $100 an hour, that's $700 a week. That's $35,000 a year that it's worth to you to systemise your business and not spend time doing your invoicing at 11 o'clock at night. If you're able to reduce your staff by 1 staff member per year, how much would you save? And if that staff member is costing you $60,000, with on-cost, they might cost you $90,000. On top of the time you're saving yourself, you might be up to around about $140 by automating your business. Is it starting to make sense? So think about it. What systems have you currently got in place to allow you to do less of the grunt work? Who manages the systems you've got, and how do you know they're being managed properly? So how are they reporting to you what's going on? And can you do it more efficiently by outsourcing and still manage safely all of the things that you need to manage in your business? And if you can answer those questions, you're well along the way to automating and systemising your business. If you don't understand how, talk to someone like Paul, who's an expert on the particular subject. Come along to a workshop or something like that, but start doing something. Does that make sense? Yeah, you'd think so.
And the big thing, why would you want to systemise your business? And a lot of people who are sole traders and things like that, sometimes it doesn't work for them. Sometimes it does. But once you get to more than one person in the business, having systems is critical. It's a way of tracking, making sure things are done consistently. But again, we talk about if you ever want to exit your business, the only way you're probably going to do it is if you've got systems set up. The other thing too, if you ever want to grow your business, the only way you're going to properly grow it is if you've got systems set up. If you haven't got systems there, you're not going to grow, you're not going to be able to sell, you're never going to be able to leave. You've basically got yourself a glorified job that you can't
handcuff yourself to your business for life.
Never have a holiday
your kids won't want to take it over from you, I guarantee it. Think about it like this. If you were selling soft drink and you suddenly discovered vending machines and you could have 100 of them selling the same amount of soft drink as you sell in a day in 100 different locations, wouldn't that make sense? Well, that's what systemising your business is. That's turning your business into a vending machine.
Simple as that. And it's not rocket science. Anyone can actually do it. Actually, if
you're going to change that, it's not brain surgery.
It's not brain surgery. The thing is, think of it this way, be a lazy person. How would a lazy person do something? They'll get other people to do it, and they'll have systems do it, because then they wouldn't have to do it themselves. Well, once said, the best entrepreneur is a lazy entrepreneur. Maybe not so, but that's sort of the mentality you need to take as far as getting the jobs done by other people.
Well done.
Anyway, if you like what we've put down here, contact us, leave us a comment, send us some messages. Yeah. Love to hear some feedback.
Anyway, we'll see you this evening.
Yeah, we'll see you this evening.
Thanks, mate.
See ya.
See you.